You're standing in front of the Betta display at the pet store, and you're blown away by how stunning some of these fish look. There are Bettas with fins like flowing silk, Bettas with metallic armor-plated scales, Bettas with wild, spiky fins that look ready for battle. And you're thinking, I want the most incredible-looking one. Here's the problem. Some of these fish have been bred so intensively for appearance that they come with serious health issues baked right into their genetics. I'm talking about mobility problems, chronic stress, physical deformities, and in some cases, progressive blindness. These aren't issues that develop because you did something wrong. They're problems the fish was born with. Today, I'm going through 5 Betta varieties that look absolutely incredible, but are genuinely difficult fish to keep, especially if you're a beginner. These are fish that experienced Betta keepers might be able to manage, but if you're new to the hobby, you're setting yourself up for frustration, heartbreak, and a fish that's probably going to have a rougher life than it should. Let's start with one of the most popular types out there. Fish number 1. Halfmoon Betta. The Halfmoon is one of the most iconic Betta varieties. When the fish flares, its fins spread out into a perfect 180-degree semicircle, hence the name. It's dramatic, it's beautiful, and it photographs like a dream. This is the Betta you see all over Instagram and Pinterest. But here's what nobody tells you. Those massive fins are a nightmare for the fish. Imagine trying to swim while dragging a wedding dress through the current. That's what life is like for a Halfmoon Betta. Those fins create so much drag that the fish has to work exponentially harder just to move around the tank. And because Bettas are already living in still or slow-moving water in captivity, they're not built for fighting heavy resistance all day long. The result? Halfmoons are often lethargic. They don't explore as much. They spend more time resting on plants or decorations because swimming is genuinely exhausting for them. You might look at your Halfmoon sitting at the bottom of the tank and think something's wrong, but the reality is the fish is just tired, and it gets worse. All that fin mass makes Halfmoons more prone to fin rot. More surface area means more opportunities for damage, infection, and stress. Their fins drag along decorations, they get caught on filter intakes, they tear more easily. Once fin rot starts, it's harder to manage because there's just so much fin to treat. Even in perfect water conditions, Halfmoons require more maintenance and attention than simpler Bettas. For a beginner who's still learning how to cycle a tank and manage water parameters, this is a tough first fish. Fish number 2, Double-tail Betta. Double-tail Betta has a split caudal fin, so instead of one tail, it looks like it has 2. It's a unique look, and it's definitely eye-catching. But this isn't just a cosmetic quirk, it's a genetic mutation, and it comes with baggage. Double tails are more prone to something called swim bladder issues. The swim bladder is an internal organ that helps fish control their buoyancy. It's what allows them to hover in place, rise, or sink. When it's not working right, the fish struggles to stay upright. You'll see them floating sideways, sinking to the bottom, or swimming at weird angles. Why are double tails more susceptible? Because the genetic mutation that creates the double tail also affects their internal anatomy. Their bodies are often shorter and more compressed than a standard Betta, and that body shape puts pressure on the swim bladder. Swim bladder issues are tough to deal with. Sometimes they're caused by overfeeding or constipation, and you can fix that by fasting the fish and feeding it a blanched pea. But other times, it's a chronic structural issue, and there's not much you can do. The fish just lives its entire life struggling to swim properly. On top of that, double tails tend to have the same fin drag problem as Halfmoons. The double tail increases surface area, which means more resistance in the water and more difficulty moving around. These fish can be kept successfully, but they require more attention and more experience. For a beginner, this is a fish that's more likely to stress you out than bring you joy. Fish number 3, Alien Betta. Alien Bettas are stunning, They're a hybrid between a Betta splendens and a wild Betta species, and the result is a fish with iridescent, almost glowing scales. They look like something out of a sci-fi movie. The colors shift depending on the light. It's mesmerizing. But here's the catch. Alien Bettas are often more aggressive and more skittish than your typical domesticated Betta. That wild genetics brings some wild behavior, and it doesn't always play nicely in a beginner's tank. These fish tend to be more stressed by human interaction. Where a regular Betta might swim up to the glass and beg for food, an alien Betta might hide every time you walk by. They're more likely to be spooked by sudden movements, changes in lighting, or even just the vibration of you walking across the floor. That stress can lead to health problems. Chronic stress weakens the immune system, making the fish more vulnerable to diseases like itch or velvet. Stress also makes them less likely to eat consistently, which can lead to malnutrition. And because they're more aggressive, they're harder to keep in community tanks. Even in a species-only setup, they can be territorial and high-strung. If you're imagining a peaceful, interactive pet, an alien Betta might not deliver that experience. They're also harder to find and more expensive. So you're paying more money for a fish that's going to be more difficult to care for and less rewarding to interact with. Fish number 4, Crowntail Betta. Crowntails are instantly recognizable. Their fins have a spiky, jagged appearance, like the points of a crown, hence the name. They look fierce, almost aggressive, and a lot of people are drawn to that bold aesthetic. But those spiky fins? They're actually a structural weakness. The webbing between the rays of the fin has been selectively reduced to create that spiked look. That means there's less tissue holding everything together. The fins are more fragile. They tear more easily. They're more prone to damage from decorations, from the filter, from the fish brushing against anything in the tank. And once those fins get damaged, they're more vulnerable to infection. Fin rot loves to take hold in crowntails because there's less healthy tissue to resist it. You can end up in a cycle where the fins get damaged, start to rot, you treat it, it heals a little, then it happens again. Crowntails also tend to be more prone to something called fin biting. This is when the Betta chews on its own fins out of stress or boredom. It's not entirely clear why some Bettas do this more than others, but crowntails seem especially susceptible. If you've got a crowntail that's fin biting, there's not a lot you can do. You can try reducing stressors, dimming the lights, adding more hiding spots, improving water quality, but sometimes the fish just keeps doing it. For a beginner, this becomes a maintenance headache. You're constantly monitoring the fins, treating minor infections, trying to figure out why the fish is stressed. Fish number 5, Dragon Scale Betta. All right, this is the big one. Dragon Scale Bettas are some of the most visually striking fish you'll ever see. They have thick, metallic scales that look like armor plating. The scales are so pronounced that they give the fish an almost three-dimensional texture. They're bold, they're dramatic, and they look expensive, because they are. But dragon scales come with a serious, heartbreaking problem, a condition called diamond eye. Here's what happens. Those thick metallic scales that make the fish so beautiful, they don't stop growing. Over time, the scales around the fish's eyes can continue to develop and start growing over the eyes themselves. It's a progressive condition. It starts with a slight cloudiness, and over the course of months or even years, the fish can lose its vision completely. There is no treatment. There is no cure. Once it starts, it's going to keep progressing. You can't scrape the scales off. You can't reverse it. The fish just slowly goes blind. Now, not every dragon scale Betta will develop diamond eye. It's more common in fish with especially thick, heavily metallic scaling, and some bloodlines are more prone to it than others. But the risk is real, and it's significant enough that you need to go into this, knowing what you might be signing up for. A blind Betta can still live a relatively normal life if you make accommodations. You can keep the tank layout simple and consistent so the fish learns where everything is. You can use feeding rings or target feed so the fish knows where to find food. Some blind bettas do just fine. But this is a lot to ask of a beginner. You're already learning how to cycle a tank, manage water changes, recognize signs of disease, and keep your fish healthy. Now add progressive blindness into the mix, and you're dealing with a fish that requires specialized care and a lot of patience. And here's the thing that really frustrates me. This condition exists entirely because of human selective breeding. We created this problem by prioritizing appearance over health. These fish didn't ask for scales that grow over their eyes. We bred them that way because we thought it looked cool. Dragon scales are beautiful, I'm not denying that. But for a beginner, this is one of the riskiest bettas you can buy. So what should you get instead? Look, I'm not trying to ruin your betta buying experience. I just want you to go into this with your eyes open. If you're new to bettas, your best bet is to go with a variety that's been bred for hardiness and function, not just looks. Here are a few solid options. Plakat bettas are fantastic starter fish. They have short fins, which means they're way more mobile and less prone to fin rot. They're active, they're robust, and they're closer to the wild-type betta in terms of body structure. Veiltail bettas are the classic pet store betta. They're common, they're inexpensive, and they're tough. The fins are longer than a plakat, but not as extreme as a halfmoon, so you get some visual appeal without the mobility issues. Delta and Super Delta Bettas are a nice middle ground. The fins are fuller than a Veiltail, but not as extreme as a halfmoon. They still have that flowing, elegant look, but the fish can actually swim without exhausting itself. These varieties might not win you Instagram likes, but they'll give you a fish that's active, healthy, and much more likely to thrive in a beginner setup. Here's the bottom line. The best betta is the one that's going to live a long, healthy, active life in your tank. Sometimes that means passing on the fish that looks like a piece of living art in favor of the fish that's built to actually function like a fish. Halfmoons, double tails, Alien Bettas, Crowntails, and Dragon Scales all have their place in the hobby. But that place is usually with experienced keepers who understand the risks, know how to manage the health issues, and are prepared to give these fish the extra care they need. If you're just starting out, you don't need to take on that level of challenge. There's no shame in choosing a simpler, hardier fish. In fact, it's a smarter move. You'll have a better experience, your fish will have a better life, and you'll actually get to enjoy the hobby instead of constantly troubleshooting problems. A healthy, active betta is often more fun to watch than a fancy one that just sits at the bottom of the tank all day. I've kept both, and I can tell you that a zippy little plakat exploring every corner of the tank is way more entertaining than a half-moon that barely moves. So before you buy, ask yourself, am I choosing this fish because I genuinely want to care for it, or am I choosing it because it looks cool? If the answer is mostly the second one, maybe take a step back and think about what's actually best for both you and the fish. If this video helped you, hit the like button and subscribe for more betta care tips and aquarium advice. Drop a comment and let me know which betta variety you're thinking about getting, or if you've had experience with any of the fish on this list. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.